If you're watching this video trying to prepare for tomorrow's quiz, good for you. Excellent. Now identifying these properties, we've got 5 times 7 equals 7 times 5. All that I did here was flip the order. So you just have to know which property, in this case you had to know which property is it when you flip the order, and that's commutative. The identity property for multiplication is like any number times 1 equals the original number. And the identity property for addition is any number plus 0 equals the original number. The associative property is the one that's about grouping. So like 7 plus 2 plus 3 is the same as 7 plus 2 plus 3. They both equal 12. Question 2, suppose you average 52 miles an hour traveling on the highway. If you drive for 5 hours, how far will you travel? So that's 52 times 5, because I'm traveling 52 miles in every hour. So if I did 1 hour, it would be 52 miles. 2 would be 104. I can multiply to find the answer is 260. Oh, this one was C, this one is A. The choice that shows the next step needed to simplify would actually be A, which you know, because I can factor out this 6. So if I factor it out and then I have some parentheses here, pull out this 6, since it's 6 times 12 and 6 times 5, and I'm left with 12 minus 5. Now here's the trick that you will know because you watched this video. Even if you don't know about the distributive property, just solve this. What's 6 times 12? It's 72. What's 6 times 5? 30. 72 minus 30 equals 42. Well, solve this one. Is the answer 42? Yes. You solve this one. 12 times 1 is 12. The answer is not 42. 12 times 5 is 6. 12 minus 5 is 7. 7 times 12 is 84. So it's not that. 12 minus 6 is 6 times 5 is 30. It can't be that. So even if you don't know the distributive property, you can still get an answer. I don't know why the test program does this. Sometimes it'll give us duplicates. But 3x plus 3x, if I have 3 x's and I add another 3 x's, I get 6 x's. So it's this one or it's this one, A or C. For simplifying equations with variables, I have to make sure that I add all my variables together, and I have to make sure that when I look at these terms, like this one's minus 4d, I have to think of that as a negative 4d. And this one is positive 12. I've got to think of this as a negative 3. So 7d and a negative 4d leaves me with 3d. 12 and negative 3 leaves me with a positive 9. So the answer is B or C. I don't know why it's doing that. The distributive property, the way it works is that if you have a number on the outside of parentheses, you can multiply that number. You have to multiply that number by what's inside the parentheses. So 5 times B is 5B. My operation is plus. 5 times 8 is 40. So the answer is 5b plus 40. The constant in the expression is 3. A constant is a number that is not multiplying any variable. And you might need to identify a coefficient, which is a number that multiplies a variable. Or you might need to identify a variable, which would be pretty easy. We've done that. But the answer to this one is 3. Is this equation true, false, or an open sentence? It's an open sentence if you see a variable, so this one is automatically an open sentence. Is this number a solution of the equation? Well, you got a 50-50 shot, or you could just plug in this number 8 for C. So 8 equals 2 times 8 minus 4. Is that true? Well, let's see. Does 8 equal, let's see, 16. 2 times 8 is 16. 16 minus 4 is 12. 8 does not equal 12, so the answer is no. 8 is not a solution. We have to solve this equation. A plus 3 equals 10. Now what you could do, you know it's one of these answers, so you could just plug in a number. Is 7 plus 3 10? Yes. The proper algebraic way to solve this is to do the opposite. If you have a plus 3, you want to cancel out that 3, you subtract 3. But if I do something to one side of the equation, I have to do it to the other. 10 minus 3. So 3 minus 3 is 0, so that just leaves me with a. 10 minus 3 is 7. So the answer is 7a. It's the same concept here. I've got to, since I have a minus 4, I've got to add 4 to both sides. So negative 4 plus 4 is 0. That leaves me with a. I'm going to write it up here. 12 plus 4 is 16. So the answer is B. And of course you could have just plugged 16 in. Is 16 minus 4 12? Yes, it's 16. 5 times Q is 15. You might just be looking at that and thinking, oh yes, the answer is D, 3. Oops, D. The answer is D, 3, because I know 5 times 3 is 15. Or you might look at it and say, it's 5 times Q, so I have to do the opposite. I have to divide by 5, and I would be left with 5 divided by 5 is 1. 1 times Q is just Q. So Q equals 15 divided by 5, 3. W divided by 9 is 6. Again, you can just plug in numbers, or you could do it the algebraic way. Since this is W divided by 9, I want to multiply both sides by 9 to get my answer, because if I multiply this by 9, I'm left with 9 over 9, which is 1. So I would just be left with 1 times W. So W equals 6 times 9 is 54. So the answer is C. Suppose I have 30 CDs. I know I have 11 more CDs than my friend. So there's me. I've got 30. I've got 11 more than him. So you can probably think, well, then if I've got 11 more than him, that means he definitely has 19, because I've got 11 more than he does. There's only one of these solutions that have 19. So you could do it that way, like, hey, that's the one with 19, I know it's this one. Or the way to think of it is his amount of CDs that we're trying to find, we don't know, it's a variable. But we know it's, if we add 11 to it, then we have my number of CDs. So the answer here is D. Graphing solutions to inequalities. C is any number that is less than 5. This sign is less than. So C has got to be less than 5, but it can't be 5. So if something cannot be 5, it's going to be an open circle. And if it's less than, it's any number that is to the left of 5. So 4 is less than 5, 2, 0, negative 2. The answer here is D. This closed circle would mean less than or equal to. So if I said something like C is greater than or equal to 5, I'm saying now C could be 5. C could be 5 or anything greater than 5. This one is option C. The graph of this inequality is option C. Here we are, we're looking at numbers greater than x, or greater than 3, excuse me. X is a bunch of numbers greater than 3, but not 3, so there's no line there. So the answer is going to be D. To solve this inequality, since this is a positive variable, I solve it just like I would an equation. Since this is h minus 2, I'm going to add 2 to both sides. So negative 2 plus 2 is 0. I'm left with h is less than negative 1 plus a positive 2 is 1. Since it is less than, I know it's an open circle. An open circle, and the numbers must be less than 1, so that would leave me with this graph, because all those numbers are less than 1. The answer is A. I need to solve this inequality. Oh no, it's a negative variable. I have to remember the trick with a negative variable. Now I'll write this one down here. 42 is less than negative 6 times d. I still do the opposite of this operation. So this is negative 6 times d. I'm going to divide by negative 6 on both sides. So negative 6 divided by negative 6 is 1. That leaves me with d, or 1 times d, or just d. 42 divided by negative 6 is a negative 7, because I've got a positive I'm dividing by a negative. But what I have to remember with negative variables is that once I solve, I flip the sign. So this is actually negative 7 is greater than d, or d is less than negative 7. So the correct answer is A. And that is it. Good luck tomorrow.